because they're using what is known as crises, chaos, and solution.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem that we're having. So let me give some examples of this, and then we'll come back and talk about Detroit and what's going on in other cities so that they can prepare themselves. Let me start by saying I am not a psychologist or psychiatrist, but I know when something's happening to me and I can't do anything about it, someone is putting pressure on me. And I'm telling you, they have spent trillions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring in a psychological warfare on Detroit, the black community. We're getting a complete pressure, and we're sitting around like puppets. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows what to do. They have literally raped us of our leaders. Those that were here, they either or put them in jail or made them lose the elections, so they're not in position or anything. Right now, our leadership is zero, and our enthusiasm for freeing ourselves is completely zero because we don't even really know that we're in a bind. We're just going along to get along, and that's a very, very, very bad situation for us to be in the city of Detroit. Now, let's go back to Lyndon Johnson, and I'm going to use this crises, chaos, and solution to give an example of how this thing works. United States wanted to get involved in a large scale in Vietnam, a larger scale. They sent in the late 50s and early 60s, they sent the CIA and hit squads into Vietnam. What they wanted, the Seven Sisters, which would be your large-owned oil companies, they wanted to get free oil out of Vietnam. They discovered that the oil was in the ocean around Vietnam. So they began to escalate the war. Now, how did they do that? How did they get the people's consent to do it? They use what I call chaos, crises, and solution. They claimed that some innocent warships were sitting in a bay known as Tonka. You can look this up. It's called Tonka Bay, and several little bamboo canoes rolled out with dynamite and blew holes in the sides of these two warships. Lyndon Johnson got on the air, the radio media and television media, made it very clear that he was not, here's the words he used, I would not tolerate these slant-eyed, yellow-skinned pickaninnies. That's what he called the Vietnamese people.
They used to call us that.
Our innocent, I know that pickaninny, yeah, pickaniggas, yes.
Yeah.
And he escalated the war to a humongous level, and that's when Westmoreland got in with his so-called ink blotter strategy, and that was to just start putting troops in, and the more troops you put in, the more they had to go inland, and as a result was a complete mess, and they had to retreat out of Vietnam. But they got caught by the United Nations, who brought charges against the Seven Sisters for offshore drilling while the war was going on, and they were sent to the World Court for trial, and they lost their trial, and they were fined trillions of dollars. I have no idea the number, but they made it clear that you had to pay, you owed the American people. And so what they did in the mid-'70s into early 80s, they set up several gas stations. They didn't change the name like we have now, but they had gas stations set up with any kind of name you could think of. Gas and Go, quick gas. I recall in the 70s, on Greenfield in West Chicago, there was about 6 gas stations, and they all had cheap prices. They were all under they were all under the normal price. So they had the Seven Sisters had to keep their gas gallon price pennies below the regular price so that they could pay back the American people. But they used, in order to do all of that, they used that chaos, crisis, and solution, because what they wanted, they knew they wanted to get the oil, so they had to create a crisis, and then they modified a chaos in the news media so the people would be angry that these yellow-skinned, slant-eyed yellow-skinned pickaninnies had the audacity to kill our brave young men. So they went in there and destroyed them. The same tactic was used with 9/11. Same tactic. They wanted to put a face on the war in Afghanistan and Iraq, because they had already made up their minds that they wanted to alleviate the leadership of 5 countries in the Middle East: Syria, Gaddafi in Libya, Iran, Iraq, and there was one more. I can't think of it right now, but there were 5 countries that they wanted to get rid of. So they had to create this thing in order for the people to support it. So they had to create a crisis, and that crisis was bombing the building in New York so that the people would be outraged, and then as they begin to blow it all through the news media, which created chaos among the people, because most people knew that it was a lie, but they couldn't overpower the news media. So as a result, they sent more troops into Afghanistan, and then it was discovered that they didn't need Afghanistan, they needed Iraq. Mm-hmm. So they moved it from Afghanistan into Iraq. So once again, they used this formula that has always worked, and people have always fell for the same okie doke. Now, when they did the Vietnam crisis, they had to put a face. They always have to put a face on this chaos, crisis, and solution. They always have to put a face. This is why Lyndon Johnson stated it was the yellow-skinned, slant-eyed pickaninnies that had destroyed those warships. And then which we have never seen, there are a multitude of, I don't want to be negative, but there are a multitude of people of of pigmentation over there in the Far East that would fit that negative description. So we really didn't know who we were fighting. When they went into Vietnam, they did the same thing, but now they had to create a face, and with that face, they did Osama bin Laden. Now notice nobody ever seen him, but they always put a picture up of him. They even had the audacity to say that he was 6 foot tall, and 6 foot for an Arab is like Wilt Chamberlain. They're not that tall. Mm-hmm. And he had a kidney problem, so he had to use a dialysis machine 3 times a week. And he was supposed to be hiding in the mountains. So put all that together and figure out who in the hell was Osama. Then when our luxurious black president went in office, he executed the murder of this fictitious Osama bin Laden. Everybody was pleased, but 2 things happened. Number 1, they took the body out in the middle of the ocean and dumped it, so they said. Mm-hmm. The team that what they call it, the CIA team that went in and killed him, Obama told them to come to the White House. He wanted to give them an award, and it has never in the history have this been done where they used y'all look it up, because you're not going to believe me. The plane fell out of the sky and killed all of the persons involved. That was supposed to. Family, don't laugh. All you got to do is look it up. I'm not making this up.
Okay.
The plane fell out of the sky, and they killed all of the guys involved. And they played it down in such a way that nobody really got concerned. Because if you recall, when Bush, one of the major things that Bush did, and if you ever study the 14, write this down, everybody that's listening, 14 principles of fascism. You can look it up, Bear. Pull that up and take a look at it. 14 principles of fascism. And one of the major, all of them are major, but one of them states that you must control the news media and print only what goes on in the districts that you set up. And Bush set up the United States in the 6 districts, and nobody knows what's going on across those lines because the news media is controlled. And when they give national news, they'll talk about some bear that bit somebody out in Montana, or they'll talk about some baby was burned down in Florida, and that becomes the headlines. But they never tell what's going on in Detroit with stealing and raping our city. That will never go out out there because they don't want that to spread. So they can control it in the district only of Detroit. And we're in this thing. And I'm telling you that we all are suffering from it. It's no coincidence that black people are as ignorant as they are. It's no coincidence that black people have no desire to be free. It's no coincidence that black people do not want to have a nationality. It's no coincidence that 99% of all black people are Christians in love with the European Peckerwood on the cross with his hands stretched out, talking about he'll save you, and he couldn't save himself. That's not a coincidence. Psychological warfare has created that, and they've done a damn good job. Now, since they are losing on the youth end, because nature is stronger than the European, and nature says that all youth, especially male youth, will fill their oats between 13 years old and 19 years old. I'll just throw those two numbers out. Because you know I did a program on the 7 cycles of life from 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21. So that era of youth between 14 and 21 are the ones that they're murdering, killing, because they can't do anything with them, because they can't use the psychological warfare on them, because they don't zero in on all the trash that their parents and adults get to. The news media, these movies and stuff like that. But they do listen to, and this is a big market, big industry, rap music of number one, belittling our black women, calling them BITs and stuff like that, rape and murder and looting, and drugs when it comes to bling bling. So now they know they have to build prisons because they're going to get them, because they won't be able to survive between 14 and 21 without either or being dead or put in jail. Now, we don't have any leaders with this type of insight. We don't have anyone that can look into this. We got that old, I'm looking at him, I can't call his name, that psychiatrist that made Bill Cosby $1 million, $1 trillion with the little old family crap that they put on TV. But he can't seem to get into what they're doing to the masses of black people, so he can use his research and his knowledge of psychology to figure out why we're under this madness. He can't do it. This program of chaos, crisis, and solution has been used all through mankind. European has always used it. World War I was one of the first examples when I saw it, when they wanted to get the people of the Europeans in the United States voted that they did not want to be a part of World War I because it had nothing to do with the Europeans. That was number one. Number two, all of my younger days, it was always stated by Cronkite and all those news people that the United States is safe from war or attack because of the oceans. None of them could come across the ocean. But then in World War I, back in 1913, Harding, I may not be telling the president right, but the president of that time had to get into the war, so he had to come up with a scheme in order to get the people of the United States to support him. So what did he do? There was a ship called the Lusitania. This ship was an ex-warship, a huge ship that they had modified into a European, he had modified into a luxurious vacation ship. So what they did, they set up that there would be a price, a rock bottom price for all the Europeans. They could go to England and see their families. And they sold this across the United States. The Germans knew what they were doing and tried to stop it, but due to the power of the news, they only had a chance to print it in a newspaper way out in Iowa, somewhere way out there, that United States was setting them up with chaos, crisis, and solution, and they was going to be drug into this war. So what did they do? They loaded the ship with people, sent it out in the middle of the ocean. They slowed it down to 3/4. I know y'all think I'm lying, but y'all got to look this up. They slowed it to only go 3/4 of its speed because it could outrun any U-boat, quote unquote, submarine that the Germans were blowing all of England's ships out of the water, because it's only 22 miles from England to France. So they were dealing with it in the upper waters, but the waters were treacherous, and they're treacherous today. So they made the ship slow down, and it was loaded with war equipment at the hull of the ship, and the Germans didn't have any choice but to shoot the ship, and the news said it sunk in 18 minutes. And when the United States blew it all over the United States, white folks was breaking the door down to sign up to kill them nasty Nazis that had killed their cousins and all that kind of crap. Chaos, crises, and solution. So now, here we are, 2014. Everybody think they know what they're doing. Here they come back with the same approach, because I told you it works every time. All you got to do is have a little finesse when you do it. What is going on today? ISIS. Oh, let me stop before I jump on ISIS. Let's go back to Daddy Bush when he wanted to increase the troops and attack Saddam Hussein. All the troops had been allocated to stay in Afghanistan, but he wanted them to move them into Iraq. He put the word out that the Iraqi army, which he called the Republic Army of Iraq, was the most feared army in the Middle East other than the United States. Y'all remember that. They said these guys were so good, they just march in and people start running when they come in. The United States had to have a cause, so they said that they had attacked Kuwait. Now, y'all should know about Kuwait. I got to stop and tell you about Kuwait. Kuwait's on the bottom of Iraq. Kuwait is one of the most richest oil nations in the world. Kuwait is the only state or country in that area of the world that has a oasis type dock or bay or port where the ships with the oil can get out into the Indian Ocean and take it out and sell it to Australia, China, or wherever else they're going. It gets funny, but it ain't funny because they're killing people as they do this. So Daddy Bush said, that the war had broke out on the border of Iraq and Kuwait because Kuwait had caught Iraq slant drilling. So if we sitting back here in America, what the hell is slant drilling? What the hell we care? Slant drilling is when you supposed to drill straight down for oil, but you do it at a slant so you can go under the border and start pulling oil out of another country. That was a lie he told. Look it up. Don't.
And they doing that here with the water.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So bottom line was, he moved them over, but he told all America it's going to be a tough war because that army, we're a little bit tough to deal with it, and the CIA and the SEALs and all of those specialized groups had needed support and backup. So as a result, they moved the troops over there, and as soon as the troops landed, nobody saw. They marched from wherever they landed into Baghdad in less than 20 minutes or whatever. I'm exaggerating there. But the bottom line was there was no way for them. Are we getting a complete blowout, you think? Or you turned off the tape? Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, Beverly, the bottom line is they use chaos, crisis, and solution to deal with it. Now, what does that have to do with today? Today, they have created another monster called ISIS. They went back and pulled up ancient rulings on ISIS, who was a god of thunder, who was supposed to be the creator and the adjuster of all things, and he's just so powerful that you just don't want to fool with it. So the name itself is supposed to scare the hell out of you because they're talking about ISIS. Now they add to that and say that ISIS is the most heavily funded organization that they ever have used or heard of in their life. Meaning that they don't know they act like they don't know where the money comes from. Now remember, all of the money on earth is controlled by three entities. All of the money on earth is controlled by three entities. Any money that's not, and I'm calling it money, so let's call it currency. Any currency that's not controlled by these three entities, war breaks out. Let's name the entities. The Pope, the Queen, and the President of the United States. They own all the currency on earth. The murders that have come down with Saddam Hussein, Muammar Gaddafi, Mubarak in Egypt, and they're trying to get the dude, King Saud, out of Syria, and they're scared of the brother over in Iran. They want to get them because they're trying to set up a new funding process where they don't want the so-called, quote-unquote, the American dollar. And that's what they're trying to do.
What about Russia? How is Russia planning this?
If you recall, Reagan gave them the plan to crush Russia when they had the Cold War going on, and when they originally set up Taliban. The Taliban was the originating force that was fighting Russia, but the Taliban was pro-Iranian, not Iranian, Islamic. The United States didn't like it, so they created an army and said that Osama bin Laden was the leader, moved this army in to join the Taliban, ran Russia out, and bankrupt Russia. See, they know how to stop Russia. Russia don't have the power that you think Russia has, because what they had to do when this war came down, Russia used to be the largest landmass of countries on the earth, maybe next to Africa, But here's what we didn't know: there are more black people in Russia than it's the second largest nation of black people on the earth. People didn't know that.
Right.
Oh, that's right. Also, Russia at the time was called the Soviet Union because they acquiescently, going back to my contracts, they engulfed all of those countries up by the Caspian Sea, which was like Afghanistan, Yukistan, Bobistan, Blobistan, Hookistan, Jakistan, all of them stands was up there with nothing but black folks, and they was Islamic. So when Reagan got through tearing up the economy with the Taliban and running the army out of Afghanistan, Russia filed bankruptcy, not on paper, but they had to give up all those stands and went back to nothing but Russia. They don't call Russia USSR no more. When you went to school, they call it USSR, United Soviet States of something. I don't know what they call it. You dig? But the bottom line was they bankrupt Russia. So they know. Now, Russia is hooking up with North Korea and China.
Yeah.
So that's going to protect them from that, if you can dig it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So now, meanwhile, back at the ranch, they need to create a new monster because they got to figure out how to get in there and stay close so they can destroy Iran, Syria, and make sure that China, North Korea, and Russia stay in their own territory. And since there's no war, quote unquote, going on, or at least there's nothing that the American people know about, they had to create some way to get troops over there to protect their interest. So they created this thing called ISIS. Created on paper. Now, they making ISIS be one of the biggest monsters that ever lived. They got guns, they got airplanes, they got machine. Oh, let them tell it. They got enough to attack America and kill everybody over here. Then you turn Fox News and all them redneck peckerwoods on against it, and all of them are shouting and screaming. Next, they show Europeans. Notice what they did. They showed Europeans getting their heads chopped off. And guess what? That nobody has mentioned. The persons that are chopping off their heads are also Europeans.
Mm-hmm. And aren't they covered up, or are they showing their face?
They covering up.
Yeah.
They're talking now that the guy that's doing the chopping off, they think they know who he is. They gave out a name, but they said they're going to, Obama, you heard him, he got on the news and said they'll follow him to the ends of the earth. He's not safe anywhere. But we're talking about white on white crime. But they got to send troops in there. So they started with the air raids. They started the other day. They stopped the news and said Obama is striking Syria. They want to get rid of Syria.
Mm-hmm.
And the president of Syria said, we have a sovereign nation. You can't come in here and start bombing. And Obama said, go to hell. Because you are dealing with ISIS that they created. We ain't heard them say nothing that ISIS was there or wasn't there. And you should know, Bev, that anyone in the Middle East with any type of brain should hate United States guts.
And most of them do.
Yes, they do. So all they have to do is take the cameras and film a couple of them talking and then call them ISIS. And here we are talking, let's look at them sons of a guns. We need to kill them. All that old kind of stuff. And we don't know nothing of what they feed us.
That's how they doing the same thing, like you say, with the yellow pickaninny, slanted eye pickaninny. Yes.
Daggum slant-eyed, no, yellow-skinned, slant-eyed, picking, whatever, I don't forget. That's what they call it. So we're caught up in that madness, and here we are. They're trying to get us to talk about it. So I heard Eglajon, that old, they got the Black Talk Radio bringing it up as if they got something to say about it.
Mm.
That we don't have to tolerate them chopping off people's heads. But they didn't say nothing when Obama used those drone missiles to bomb and kill all them people over there. That's the worst killing you can. At least Bush had pilots in the plane Because you remember, a couple of them, A Black Hawk Down was a movie they made to show you how they made it look like the people of Baghdad were just heathens, the way they treated them punk. Excuse me. The way they treated the pilots. You remember?
Right, I remember the movie.
They caught them and drug them down and then hung them and put them on the bridge. And they thought that was the ugliest thing that could ever happen. But they didn't say nothing about them rockets and all that crap that they were shooting out of them helicopters. They didn't say nothing about the bombs that they used to bomb all them places over there. And when you're dealing with Arabs, they're nothing but nomads. What is a nomad? What is an Arab? They are wanderers, all of them. All of them are wanderers. Over here, right here in Detroit, they're nothing but wanderers. You got different breeds of them. You got Chaldeans that think they're white because their daddy was white. You got the Arab that think he's Arabic because his daddy was black. Either or, vice versa, it doesn't matter because they fight, they hate each other, and then they turn around in the groups, such as the Arab group, and have hundreds of different sect groups, SCCT, sect, that hate each other. Sunnis, Shiites, the Druze, they all fight each other. They're nothing but nomads. So when they come to the United States, they know that they're coming into heaven because they've never seen anything like what goes on in the United States. I've been over there. Nowhere have I been. I've been in the Middle East. I've been all around the Mediterranean, and I've been to Egypt. I've been to Israel. I've been to Bethlehem. I've been to Greece. I've been to Spain. I've been to Italy. None of those people live with the luxuries that we do. Now, they live better because they don't have the political bull crap that we got. But I'm talking about the living styles that we have, the cars, the food, the schools, stuff like that. And Egypt is terrible. That was the worst one of all, if you ask me. I was there. So my point is, we got to wake up and get our heads on right and get rid of these sellout called black leaders. And every opportunity we get to boo the ones that are there, we need to boo them and get them out of the way and make it clear, don't come here with that trash, and give the ministers an alternative. Keep your ass in the pulpit. Man, don't come out here. Stay in the pulpit. Got talking. Don't come out here with your political, now all of a sudden you're a Negro leader. That damn Swindling Wendell right here in Detroit, one of the biggest turncoats we ever had. He got his nose in everybody's business and then pray every Sunday that he's into something.
And they have one in every city.
They have several in
several.
Every city.
You're right.
And I tell you what, next time you're riding on Myers from Grand River to 7 Mile, you can count on your hands. 2 hands is 10. 2 toes is 20. 2 feet is 20. You can count and won't have enough toes and fingers to count the churches that are in that area. It's the damnedest thing you ever want to see. What are they going to church for? What is the goal of going to church? And we are living the worst life we've ever lived in conditions that we've ever had, the worst that we've ever been. And they're tearing the door down on Sundays to get in these churches. And they will always say, I heard that I listened to Sirius Radio, Urban View, and I was listening to Armstrong Williams. That's one that they suggest.
Oh, Lord.
Tar and Feather, that Negro. He was shocked that the people were calling in saying that the churches they go to and some of the things they had heard, such as in order to join some of these churches, don't ask me which one, but I've heard this before, you got to bring your tax return.
Yeah.
So that they will know how much money you're supposed to give the church.
Yeah.
Then they went further to say that Christmas time, the preacher will ask for another $100, and he know they don't have it, and then he begins to preach a sermon that they're cheating Jesus because it's Jesus' birthday, not your children's, and you buying toys for the children. Take them toys back and bring that money back to the church. And Armstrong said he thought he had never heard of, he went bonkers that he had never heard of. And then he ended up by saying, I know we got some bad preachers out there, but there are some good ones. I have a good preacher. And I almost tore my car up. He's falling into the same bull crap that the rest of them is, because they all say, yes, they are crooked, no good, but mine is a good one. It's like a pimp and a prostitute.
Well, that's what it is. That's what they do. And a lot of the preachers that's in the pulpit used to be pimps.
Yeah, well, a couple of the big ones here in Detroit. Yeah. You're right. You're totally correct. And they learn that pimp game, so they know how to bring shame on their prostitutes, and they know how to bring shame on their women parishioners or parish, whatever they call them, in the church, and they just giving up all that money and praying to Jesus. It's madness. It's hell. That's what it is. It's hell to see that. And then after he chewed out everybody for being so sinful, he turned around and said, my preacher is good, and I will take a train every now and then from Pittsburgh to New York to hear my pastor, because he's a good preacher. And he's being pimped just like everybody else. That's bad. And he's a Negro leader. That's the thing you got to remember. He's a Negro leader because he's got a voice, and he speaks for black people. They may be the talented tenth or the bourgeoisie, but at least he's speaking for them, and it gives the Europeans pleasure to hear Armstrong and would hate a guy like me that tells the truth. Can you dig it?
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Well, some people are waking up because when Sharpton came to town with Ferguson, some people called him out.
What about that beer? Yep, they called him out. I know they booed him, and he didn't stay there very long. Jesse left so fast it was pathetic. We need more of that.
Yeah.
And the news media is going to protect them until they can find someone new, because they understand that the preachers down there, they had a rally this weekend, and they said it got out of hand because they were burning and looting down there in Ferguson this past weekend. And I didn't see it on the news, but I saw it on the internet.
Right.
And they said they tried to have a secret. Did I mention this to you before? They tried to have a secret meeting, and the city council met in one of the black churches with the so-called selected black Negroes, and the people in the street heard about it and knocked the door down into the church and got in there and went to raising hell.
Okay.
And the white Europeans said, we're down here to make a deal. If y'all would stop showing out and doing whatever you do, they probably didn't use the word showing out, but do what you do, we will stop doing the Terry stops. I thought I mentioned that before.
Yeah, you did tell us about the Terry stops. I remember that part.
Yeah. Well, they stated, the people said, we don't care about Terry stop. We want your stop and the police department out of our city. Get out of here. So I guess we are waking up, but the way that they're putting this pressure on these cities, because you just get sick when you hear people like Reverend Bullock. His intention is good, but he don't know what he's doing. He's in a battle with a slingshot, and they have hand grenades and bazookas. And all he can do is pray and beg people to come out. He don't have a solution. He don't have a remedy. He don't have a direction. He want to go by the book, singing, "We shall overcome." That's the only tool they got. Hands up, don't shoot, that type of stuff. And that has gotten us nowhere. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So are there any phone calls? We have any callers?
Let me see. You can call 347-215-8041 if you have a comment or a question for Ron March before we go on the break. The number is 347-215-8041.
Okay.
So far, we don't have any. They're listening.
What about the chat room? Is there any questions that they might want to put up?
Okay, well, the chat room hear me, so they know they can put a question up.
They know what's happening. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what about, Ron, since it seems like that the state has a lot of control over the city, so really it's like they come in and do whatever they want to do with the, you have to excuse my dog. They're doing some work on my house. They were supposed to have been finished by now, so we got to deal with the barking.
All right.
So the city is under the state. So how does the city, how can they, like here in Detroit, the state comes in, does whatever it wants to do because it can hold the money back, and that's what they've been doing,
Yes. Well, that came from Dennis Archer. If you recall, one of the first major project that made white folks happy was Dennis Archer came in and he asked the federal government to step in and oversee the police department. And see, when you look at changing a community from black to white, they want to make sure of several things. Number one, that the taxes are low, the schools are pure, are clean, and there is police protection. These are the things you look for when you purchase a home.
Right.
The schools, the fire department, the taxes, that type of thing. So what Archer did to start off, remember he was talking about the olive branch that he wanted to do with the suburbs because Coleman Young was such a racist blackie that he wanted to kiss and make up and ask for apologize to the suburbs. He brought in the federal government to oversee the police department. Now, he did that under what was known, and I've never heard of it, a federal decree. It's called a federal decree. So everybody better look out when the mayor's talking about a federal decree. And what that did, he and the police chief, I don't know who else signed it, but they signed off to give the complete control of the police department to the federal government, the Justice Department. You know what? You know what I'm talking about? Because one of the charges against Kilpatrick was he was having an affair with a lady in charge of the federal decree.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. So now, that was the first decree that I'm aware of. Going back to what you asked about the city of Detroit, the city council, now you know the elections have been crooked ever since Coleman left to keep the proper people into these political positions. So what they did, they made sure that once they put Kilpatrick in jail, they knew that they were going to have a quick, speedy takeover because they were running out of Uncle Remus Negroes, Uncle Tom Negroes. So they went and got the worst that one they could ever find was that loser known as Dave Bean. He was qualified for nothing. He was running a government-controlled steel company that was on full steam on Friday and was bankrupt Monday morning. And no one said a word. And they said they needed a businessman to run the city of Detroit. He never filed bankruptcy. He just closed the doors because they didn't want it on the record that a bankrupt bum was elected president. No, not elected.
He wasn't yet, right. He was selected, that's right.
He was selected president, yes. So they just closed it. There were two suppliers that went bonker and threatened to go to federal court on the monies that he owed, but powers to be stepped in, and we never heard any more from them people, whoever they were. It was 2 companies that he owed approximately $700,000 to combined. And once they stepped out the first time, one day, and they disappeared. I don't know what happened. That was the first. And so they knew they were in trouble because they gave him a script to read because he was not qualified for anything. Let's put it that way. So what they did, they set up what is known as today, and they don't talk about it. It's called a federal decree when the governor said that he was going to bring in this manager, controlled manager, and they were going to control the budget of Detroit because the city was in financial turmoil.
That they created. Which they created,
yes. Chaos, crisis, and solution.
Yes.
We're right back at the same madness. So what they did, they came in, called the top-ranking officials, especially that Gary Brown, which you haven't heard from, that crook. They called in that Murphy, Cockrell, Sheila Cockrell. You haven't heard from her lately. All of these losers they called in and told them, we're going to keep you on the payroll, but we advise you to step down because we're going to put in a Christ program upon the next election. But we will pay you your wages all the way out. And then they all signed up to keep their wages and gave up the control of the city to the governor, who gave that control to the financial manager.
Which was illegal.
Which was illegal, yes. Yes. But now they got a whole card because there's got to be a remedy to all crime. This is corporate law that I talk about all the time. So what they did to cover their butt, they told the new city council, you're in the same boat as the old city council, but here's what we want from you. Every 3 months, whatever we send you, sign it. Don't give me no lip. Don't get on television talking about we've been ripped off. We don't want to hear none of that. You just sign it, keep your mouth shut, and act like you are a politician, and you'll live out your term. And that's what they're doing.
We have a caller, Ron.
Yes.
Area code 773-396.
Hello, Beth. Can you hear me okay? Hello,
yes, we
Beth,
can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Ron, I'm going to email you as soon as this show is over in regards to a police stop last night in regards to the Terry law, okay? And also, this police officer, I requested the supervisor, and I also did not receive a business card. I'll give you the details as soon as the show is over in regards to this stop that was under no probable cause, and you give me your opinion about the next step as far as me not just being, I was a guest, but continue what you were talking about, and I will email you as soon as the show is over.
Question.
Oh, okay.
You were not driving. You were a visitor in the vehicle.
Yes, I was. And we were stopped, and the police officer stated that he cannot be driving while on his phone, and we were stopped for over 2.5 minutes, letting a coworker out of the car to go at the bus stop.
Wow.
And
okay.
I was also detained and searched without my consent.
Wow. Was there a female officer present?
The female officer searched me, and I told her I did not give her consent.
Right.
I asked for business cards for every officer in front of me, and they said they don't have one, including the supervisor, and they walked away from me.
Right. Okay. Look up Terry stop before you email me, and we'll go from there.
Yes, I will. Thank you very much, Ron.
All right. Cool. Yep. Now, see, Bev, that's part of the European psychology.
Yeah.
The police department. They are gone. They're mad. And some of them are on quotas to be sure and write X number of tickets before they come in. You know, before they get off duty.
Right.
And they put their jobs up. If they don't do it, they get bad reports. And you know how nasty that can be, because all police officers, as you know it, Bev, are illegal.
Yes.
I'll say it again. All police officers, as we know it, are illegal rent-a-pigs, every one of them.
Except for the sheriff.
Except for the sheriff, correct. Yes. None of them have legal right to do anything. What the legal right that a police officer has, every citizen of the United States has that same right. But they keep them in line by writing those merits and demerits so that they can keep them in line. And if they try and do anything other than the thin blue line, as they call it, keep their mouth shut and do what they do, they will write them up and either fire them or put them in a cross. Because you need to look at the movie code to get an idea of what I'm talking about.
No, say that again. The movie what?
Serpico.
Serpico. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I remember
Serpico.
that. Okay.
When they had a decent cop and they set him up and killed him.
Yeah.
And they all turned on him. Unbelievable.
Well, that's the brotherhood, you know.
Yes. The fraternal order.
Yes.
The fraternal order. The DPOA. The police department order of whatever that stands for, whatever it is, DPOA. But anyway, it's break time, and let me take a quick break, Bev. And when we come back, I hope to get some questions on ISIS, because it's very important, because they're going to escalate that war, and it's two things that can happen. Now, I know this is going to cause some but some interest. Obama may get elected to a third term.
Yeah.
And I'll explain that when we come back from break.
Yes. Okay, right. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Welcome back to the Truth to Power Show, and my name is Beverly D., and you're listening to the Ron Mark Show. And Ron is talking about chaos, crisis, and solutions, and he's talking about the group called ISIS. Ron, you there? We have a caller. Do you want to take the call before?
Oh, yes. I love callers, Bev. Yep.
Okay. Area code 614-937. 614. Going once, going twice. Okay.
That may be somebody just calling in to tap in, however that works.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me give them the number one more time. The number is 347-215-8041, and push the number 1, and I can see that you would like to talk to Ron. Okay, Ron.
Okay. We left talking. I gave you the topic that we're going to go into now, and that is the possibilities of another term for Obama.
Yes.
Now, everything that's happening in the White House is a stage show.
Mm-hmm.
The Republicans are playing their role, and the Democrats are playing their role. And they're fighting to stay on path or on track. Those senior legislators, they know what the game is. They know that the government that they're in is an illegal de facto government that really has no power at all. But the school systems has taught us such a European psychological lie that 90% or the majority of the people believe everything that comes out of the White House to be true. And the biggest lie that's ever came out of the White House is there's a difference between a Democrat and a Republican. Malcolm said it very clear. One's a wolf and the other one is a fox. Both of them are canine, and both of them will eat you. So if you're going to sit back and raise arguments that one is this and the other one is that, you got a major problem, and you'll never, ever, ever solve the problem. Now, I've made statements in the past that I could not back up with my research, but I'm having I want to keep my feet on the ground, Bev.
Okay.
But, I research so much that I get visions and information that comes from an article that I read that's not in the article.
All
because
right.
I'm thinking about what I really know and from what I'm reading, and I get an understanding by using my logical brain to come up with a solution to whatever I'm searching for.
Okay.
A perfect example of that is Sinai. Now, Sinai is spelled Sinedie. D-I-E, excuse me.
Okay.
Sinedie. If you look that up, I pronounce it Sinai, but you may want to pronounce it another way. But if you look it up, you'll find that they will refer to 1861 when Congress walked out without setting a date to reconvene. And Robert's Rules of Order says that nothing can ever be solved or dealt with until you close out a meeting and set a date for a new meeting. Now, it don't make sense for me to believe the European when he says that 1861 was the date of that Sinai that it happened in 1861. Why? Because I found that with all the lies that they've told and all of the hindsight that they write about and call it his story,
right,
it would be very convenient for them to set up a cutoff date for their devilment of creating an unlawful government, United States of America, Inc. You get it?
Right.
There's got to be a cutoff. There's got to be a date where they can say, for example, anything prior to this is a lie, and anything after this we will deal with. Now, that date is important, of course, 1861, not only because they started the process of a new government, but they had a contract out to kill the president because he did not fit into their new program. That's number one. Number two, they knew they had to set up schools and set laws that would make us as inhabitants of North America, quote unquote, United States, to go to school. Today, coming from 1861, urban America schools are the only schools, public schools, are the only schools that have a problem. And it's just, and 90% of all of the urban, or better yet, inhabitants, which would be black, Negroes, colored, that type of thing, they go to those public schools. And they've been having trouble ever since we went to school. Now, why is that? Because they have to be sure and teach our children the lie that will keep them in office. And we, as so-called educated blacks, we don't even question it. This is what drives me bonkers just to think of it. We don't even question it. All these so-called intelligent, educational blacks, all of these blacks that have these degrees and diplomas and certificates, we don't hear of anyone at least asking the question, why don't we have a nationality?
So where are they getting their degrees and their diplomas from? That's why.
We understand. Yes, that's the answer, Bev, for sure. That's the answer. And they give them privileges and benefits to stay on point with those degrees and diplomas, because they will ostracize them if they step out of line, such as the way they ostracized Carter G. Woodson, who wrote the book The Uneducated Negro, That ain't the title of it, but everybody know what I'm talking about. It's the school. What was the name? See, the engineer know. Andre, what was the name of the book that Carter G. Woodson wrote? The Uneducated Negro.
Miseducation or something.
Miseducated Negro. There you go. Yeah. And you know he died a mysterious death, and they cut his tongue out. They don't know how that happened. Because he was letting the people know not to tell the secret anymore and stop them from telling it. So we're in a hocus-pocus cesspool, trick bag in America, and we have, at this point, the only ones that can even give us salvation is our individual creator. And I'm saying that very careful, because I'm not looking for a Jesus. I'm not looking for a God of the Bible. I'm looking for a black man to have the knowledge to crack the code so we can liberate ourselves. And until that day, and we don't know who that black person is. He may already be here. He may be one of these youth that's out there now with his pants around his butt.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one of those inmates that's in prison unlawfully. It may be the lady that called on the last before the last break and made the comment that she was a visitor in a car. She was a passenger and got a ticket. You think what I'm saying?
Wow.
We don't really know. But we have to stay on point because we know it's coming. I believe it's coming. And I got to do everything I can to get the word out to arouse, awaken, and give support when that person or that individual shows up. It's a powerful thing, Bev.
Yes,
and we are forcing ourselves into the spiritual realm, whether we want it or not. But we cannot fall into the bull, the BS that they give us with the Christianity, quote unquote, religion. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't want it. And once they put it into place, and I found out last night what would I call him? I want to call him a monk. When they put the Christianity together in 325 A.D. in Nicene, the Council of Nicene, they had a black bishop, archbishop, or one of the persons that did it was a black person who they literally threw a chair at. I heard last night a guy was running it and ran him out of the meeting because they wanted to create a picture of their Christianity. Now, keep that in mind. Like I told you, the yellow-skinned, slant-eyed pickaninny, the way they put Obama bin Laden that we have never seen in there, and the way that they are creating ISIS. We're going all the way back to 325 A.D. when they created the Bible and Christianity, and they had to put the only. Go ahead.
And then because they don't change their tactics, and over there in Africa they're doing the Ebola just like when they gave the Indians the smallpox in the blankets.
Yes, same.
Yeah.
They don't. Malcolm said it. The same ones that came to Plymouth Rock are the same ones that you see on the street today.
Yeah.
Evil, treacherous, ignorant, and mischievous, and hungry for power because they can't create. We're the only ones that can create. That's why they can't get rid of us or don't want to get rid of us. But they don't want big mouths like you, Bev, hanging around.
Well, they want us, but they want to control.
Yes, they want to control.
Yeah, that's the key.
So all I can say is we need to keep studying because I think my power and my survival is in, notice this four-letter word, K-N-O-W. I am in the know. I search constantly to know. And the more I know, the stronger my shield becomes that surrounds me.
Mhm.
And I don't
so
need, I don't need any preacher. I don't need any of that in order for me to do what I do. Stay on the path of righteousness, freedom, truth, justice, and equality, and live it. Don't talk it, live it. And once you do that, you'll see that it's a whole new ballgame.
Yes. And we have another caller. We have a caller
Yes.
from area code 301-403. Area code 301?
Yes. Good evening, y'all. I love this energy, and I just want to feed into what Ron Martz is saying, and that's the thing about when you know yourself as being the I, the spirit. It's like, you know, before we all come together, it was a spirit, and the spirit says things to us. But Ron Martz is saying something to us that's very spiritual, and he's trying to relate the message to the people, and the people got to understand. So, like, far as me, as I've been listening to this show, things has been changing around me. As far as spiritually, you know, trees getting cut down. It's like they tapping my phone. They listen to everything I'm doing. They, you know what I mean, they keeping track on me. You know what I mean. It's because of my vibration. And it's just like Ron said, you got to tie a daggone white piece of string on your finger just to recognize, to make sure that they still. Because when you so powerful, you're not gonna see them anymore because they can't. They can't bother you.
Come into your zone. They can't come into your zone.
It's right. And it's just like my wife was saying earlier, that they have to have a war because we have two governments. They have to have a war. If they don't have no control, then we under the other government. You see what I'm saying? So that goes back to us.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And it's right, Ron.
Yes.
See, that's what I'm saying. So they doing everything to stay in power. But once we get self together, woo, it's going to be another planet.
It's over with.
Yes, and I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. Yes. And I'm like, I'm aboard, and I'm just here, you know what I mean, to say it's a change, and it always starts with you. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, when is enough is enough. And just like I'm going to say this, I mean, I'm in this call. I was born with 3 fingers. And I didn't know where it came from. 9 toes.
Wow.
Okay? But listen, and then I had a defect with my children's. Okay? All boys got affected. Okay? But I didn't go to no church.
Wow.
I didn't believe in no God, no Christian, no. You know, I believed in self. You know what I'm saying? I believed in self and the spirit, and the spirit came to me, and all my answers came to me. Just like now, Ron Martz is giving me all my answers of who did all these terrible things to me. That's who prevailed.
Wow.
Who got that spirit?
Wow.
Who got that spirit to bring in the heavens? Now that's what people don't understand. We getting ready to see the heavens. That's why the sky's getting blue, and they don't want you to get to the heavens because the stars, one of them stars up in the heavens is you. It's you.
Yes.
You got to recognize.
I hear you, brother. Yeah.
But I ain't gonna wrap it up, but hey, this was the rule of everybody. Is they don't want that star to wake up because that light bringer that's gonna bring all your freedom to you. The power is in you.
Yes. Yes.
There's a whole mess about the Father and all this. The Father is in the heavens.
Yep. But remember one thing, brother.
Yes.
Listen to this. Thoughts are things.
Right.
Thoughts are things.
That's right.
Whatever one think it becomes a reality on the physical plane.
Exactly.
So continuously doing what you do and keep thinking what you're thinking. And it will, all your dreams will come true.
And they come along, that's what I'm
day.
saying. And you know, that's what I'm saying, man. It's that peace of mind. Sometimes it's a quiet thought. You see what I'm saying? That will kill all enemies. That quiet. If people know how to be quiet for some time and just get a moment to themselves, oh, man, it's a miracle because all his answers going to come to you. Come on, you don't need no book.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you, caller.
Thank
you,
brother.
You. We appreciate
you.
you.
Yeah.
We have another caller, Ron.
All right.
Okay, area code 313-839.
Ron, I can't hear you. Your
Yes.
voice has went out, and all I can see is you on the screen. And the only way I can hear you is through the phone if I dial in to you.
Hold on a minute. I got the engineers right here. All right. Can you hear me now? Is it
we
better?
don't have any sound.
They don't have any sound.
No sound coming through. None whatsoever.
But you can hear him on the phone, correct?
Right. I can hear him on the phone. I heard the whole conversation with the young man before me.
Okay.
Oh, okay. But on my website, you don't have any sound? Is that what you're saying?
No sound.
No sound?
No sound.
Okay. All right. Wait a minute. The engineer said you should have it. Yes. They hear you. They hear you right now. You got it?
Right. I hear you now.
Okay.
Good enough.
Thank you, caller.
All right.
You're welcome.
We apologize.
Thank y'all.
We apologize.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right, Bev. That Nasara that we talked about.
Oh yes,
before,
yes.
Everyone needs to go look that up, Nasara.
Yes.
And that S, I think the S should stand for secure. There's two of them out there. The CIA put one out to turn you around, and then the real ones out there, and they changed the word from security to I can't remember what it is, but there's two of them. But I would advise you to look up McKinney. Was her name McKinney? Yes. What was the lady's name? Cynthia McKinney.
Yeah.
Was she the one? Was she the one in the White House or the one in Georgia? White House?
Yeah. But
yes.
they kicked her out.
Yes. You need to look her up and then put black farmers in and read it from that base. You'll get the real story because Nasara grew from the black farmers.
Mm-hmm.
And they were stealing the black farmers' land. And that's what happened.
But wasn't under that we had the power, the people had the power to get rid of the corporation that's calling it the government?
Yes, under Nasara, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But the what can I call it? The ratification of Nasara was, and ratification not the right word, but that's the only thing I can think of. The ratification of Nasara was the earth had to be in peace or at peace before they could institute Nasara. And even the Pope said with his Jubilee of debt, they wanted all the wars to stop so they could start from a righteous base or a pure base. I'm not sure how that was worded. But the problem is they continue, ISIS is another continuation of white supremacy.
Yes.
That's right.
And
they had to create it. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. There you go. And they had to use the old chaos, crises, and solution to get it going, chopping off the heads. I'm telling you, white America is scared to death of ISIS. All you got to do is turn over one of them white stations. All you got to do is turn over there to Rush Limbaugh stations, that Hannity, all them old redneck Peckerwood.
But you know, Rush Limbaugh and all of them is part of the propaganda. They all work with ISIS.
I understand that. But they got to get the people riled, Beverly.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They need the people to rise up so that they can have a legitimate reason to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. You're correct.
And history won't show that they are barbarians that they really are.
Right.
See, Detroit will never show historically that redneck Peckerwood racist dog from Livonia, and I'm calling him out, that damn Duggan. History will never show that Duggan stole the race and stole Detroit.
Right.
It'll never show that. It's going to show that the Negroes, them niggers in Detroit, cried, screamed, and begged for the white man with a Tarzan mentality come in here and save us because our leadership was bad and we need peace and relief. That's what history will show.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't blame it on white folks. It's you Negroes that did that. And it's only going to take 5 to 10 years. And when we all die off, and the kids in the street today don't give a damn one way or the other because they're running around with white girls drinking beer downtown and having a good time. And before you know it, we'll be back into open slavery the way it was in the 50s, the 40s, and the 30s when they was lynching us at will.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have another caller, Ron. This caller is 843-610.
All right.
843.
Yes, caller. Where you call?
Okay. Let me try. Wait a minute. Can you hear us, caller?
There he is.
Yes, Empress. Greetings. I apologize for that. My phone was on mute because I got a lot of background noise where I am.
Okay. Greetings.
Yeah. What you guys were talking about as far as what they did to the farmers was Monsanto.
Yeah.
They use Monsanto with those GMO seeds that destroy up to an inch of the soil. So they give you the grant, they give you the seed destroy your next year's soil, and you realize that, so you don't want to use the seeds next year because you got to get a bigger tiller machine, 2-inch, to turn the soil over, and that costs more money. So that's basically what they did. They had a settlement to that too, Ron.
There was a settlement?
Yeah.
What was the settlement?
They didn't fully advertise.
That was called young man,
brother,
that was called the suicide. That was called the suicide seed, where you had to buy the new seed every year in order to plant.
Right.
Before, you could use a small portion of your crop, and you could, with the knowledge, you could grow your seed and fix it so you can turn it over the following year. But when Monsanto took over, but see, you got to go back further than Monsanto, because the black farmers, we're going back to the 30s. Monsanto wasn't powerful as it is today back in the 30s and the 20s when they were still in the black land down south. But I hear you, and what you're saying is totally true. Because, see, I was over in Greece where they don't have factories. They just got fields of farmland and sheep. And I mean, it's clean, it smells good, and all of that. And they were telling me about Monsanto in 1997 of what they had done because they wanted to put the government under the United States dollar, and they had to flip it, so they had to come and beg for money to buy the seed because the seed wouldn't grow 2 years in a row. Took all the good seed and it yes. So you're on the money. You're right there.
Exactly.
Yep. It's unbelievable what they would do.
It definitely is. And just like what you're speaking on in reference to that ISIS thing, that's the same thing they did in Panama with the Contras. The Contras was agents, government agents.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if ISIS wasn't government agents also, because the game is not new. They just, do these things in different places.
Yes, yes, brother.
They play the same
You're totally
game.
Correct. I forgot about the Contra affair. That's one that, that's got a story behind it. Was Ollie North and the Crips and the Bloods and the Medina Airport.
Yes.
And a white boy named Gary Webb who broke the story, and then they killed him. He said he committed suicide. Man,
hey, you know what's interesting about that?
Yes, go ahead.
What's interesting about that is there's so many authors that's written books, whistleblowers, like you said. But sometimes people don't want to believe the books. But if an individual isn't alive that wrote the book to dispute it, it's a true story.
yes. Yes, yes. Let me give you a perfect example. Almost had his name. The guy that Alex Haley. That's a perfect example that did Malcolm X story. The biggest lie that was ever told. Roots. The biggest lie that was ever told.
That's right.
He wrote Roots, so they say, and he made trillions of dollars. And the TV people said it was the biggest epic that was ever put on TV. Mm-hmm. And children today are still looking at it in different museums and what have you. We got a big museum, the largest museum in the United States, an African museum here in Detroit, and they bring yellow school buses on a daily basis and show those kids Negro history of slaves, slave ships. They done built a slave ship right in the middle of the museum. They use a double-deck floor, like two-story floor, and it's only a half, so it's not a ship, but it's built like a ship where you're on deck and then go down into hull where they got the beds where they put these slaves, and they're little, I don't even know what you want to call them, but you can only put in there about, let's say 35 slaves, and they'd have to be chained into the hull. And you go through and take those kids, those types of memories stay with those children forever.
That's that European psychology.
Yes.
Hey,
and nobody's saying a word.
Yep, that's right. It's crazy. I tell you, if it wasn't for Mommy and Daddy tired of buying those Christmas gifts, man, we'd be 20 and 23 years old still believing in Santa Claus. I tell you, I remember I was like 13 years old, boy. My father took me to a toy store, gave me $50, told me get out his car, go in there, buy him something, because this is the last Santa Claus you're going to see.
Unbelievable.
Well, thank you, caller. I have another call. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Mr. Steph D. All right, Ron, we'll talk again.
All right. Appreciate you.
Go ahead,
hey, Beverly, how you doing?
60.
How you doing, Beverly?
How you doing? Good.
Yes. Hey, Ron.
Right.
Hey, Ron.
Yes.
So with this ISIS thing taking full wave, I guess it's some form of way to scare Europeans to, initiate more violence on our people in a more logical way, or what they?
No. To get the Europeans behind the president to do more damage over there. They want him to blanketly bomb all those people the way Bush did. He's trying to do it in a strategic, strategic, honest way, and they want him to bomb and just blanket kill all of them. Ain't none of them no good, so why worry about it? Then they said that he's giving money, and when he said he's going to help build the army of the governments that they agreed to put in office. The people of the Rush Limbaughs and them said, oh, that ain't good enough. You're going to give the enemy, my enemy and your enemy is my enemy, that old kind of logic, and so you're going to support people that's been killing us all the time. So any move he makes is wrong. You dig it? They want Obama to kill. That's their mentality. And it doesn't take much. That's why notice they're only showing Europeans doing that devilment, chopping off heads, and the chopper and the choppee are Peckerwoods. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right on with that.
It's ungodly. Yeah. So, I did a show a couple of weeks ago about Christianity. They put the word out they want to kill, either change to Islam or they're going to kill the Christians. And that's what's happening. And then they put the families on of the dead people, and they talk the Christian position that all they want is peace on earth and goodwill to men, and they over there fooling with them people that don't have nothing to do with Christianity. How can that be? These people have been nomads. They've been wanderers. They've been caravan. Did you know that in the middle, listen to this. I'm going to see if you know. Answer me if you knew this. In the middle of Desert Storm, the nomads had to cross Iraq to get to Kuwait and the Oasis. And the kings and the sheiks over there told Bush to stop bombing so they could go through on their camels and do their ritual over there and come back out. Did you know that? It stopped for 7 days. Yes. 7 days it stopped so that they could go in there in a caravan and do whatever they do in their ritual and come back out, because they do it every year. They're just like deer. They got tribes over there that are just like deer. They just wander all around and do certain things. It's been going on for years, thousands of years. And here come these European Christians going to come in there and tell them what they doing ain't right. And then they go kill the leader and change the government. I understand that Iraq's government today is worse than it's ever been ever since they made it a government. Yeah. And Bush people are the ones that destroyed the leadership of that place. And Saddam Hussein was the only one that could rule, because he knew he had to fight and kill the different tribes to stay in their own land. Because you're dealing with crazy, I don't know, cannibals or whatever you want to call them, nomads. So, hey, brother, you're right on target. Keep your eyes and ears open. You're right on target.
Okay. All right,
thank you, caller. All right.
Appreciate your call. Wow.
Okay, Ron.
Yeah, baby.
We got 12 minutes.
12 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, I see the people are wakening up. Their eyes is opening.
Yep.
This is what time it is. And like you have kept telling us before, this is the age of Aquarius.
And a lot of people are not going to make it if they don't get their heads on right. There's nothing for you to do but believe in yourself. Search yourself for answers. You have them. Your Creator put everything you need. How can you have a God that will put you on earth and take away what you need to live? Who ever heard of such madness? You understand? And
right.
You were free, and we were free before. Once they hit us in the ass, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We fell into this madness. And we all are suffering because the European structure of quote-unquote government has us bonded in his crap. And we, and I want everybody to hear this, we as so-called Negroes are the only race of people on earth that the government said that we were slaves. The only race.
Mm-hmm.
Discrimination, white supremacy, all types of madness has went on all over the earth. But none of those places put into the government and put into the legislature that there were second-class citizens and you could kill them if they didn't do what you told them to do.
Right.
And nobody talks about this, Bev. This is what hurts. Oh, they say don't worry about it. When the Irish came over, they were discriminated against. When the French came over, they were bull crap. No, they wasn't. There was prejudice against them. You dig? But when they put into the government of United States of America, Inc., that black people were not human and they needed particular rules to keep us as second-class citizens under the 14th Amendment, and nobody says anything.
Mm-hmm.
At Al Sharpton talking about we got rights under the 14th Amendment, and the only thing they can talk about is civil rights, corporations, dogs, Negroes, colors, blacks, Puerto Ricans. All these labels have rights, but they can only come under the make-believe, fictitious, de facto government called United States of America, Inc. Now, something's wrong with that. Or am I crazy? Am I making this up?
No.
Europeans don't have to worry. You've never heard a European say they have civil rights. Never. When that Peckerwood got McBride, when he shot through that door, he could have said he had civil rights. He violated his civil rights for knocking on his door. He could have said anything like that. But he knew he didn't have civil rights. When that boy out in California doing the 67 riots in Los Angeles, they beat him with a brick. They hit him in the head with a brick, slab of brick. And they couldn't catch the guy that did it. And they said that somebody said he got civil rights, he can sue. You never heard any more about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, Bev, I just know I'm not crazy because nobody can come forth and challenge what I'm saying. I'll listen. I love to listen because they put their foot in their mouth every time they attempt to challenge what I say because I do my research. And if my research is wrong, I got challenged the other night in class. I didn't mind it because what he was saying made sense, but he wasn't saying what I said.
Now,
I gave him his
Go ahead.
I gave him his propers.
Okay.
I'm going to let you talk. Go ahead.
What do you think about this? Somebody in the chat room is saying that there's a lot of people that think that President Obama did not want to bomb Syria and are fooled by the media.
I agree. But he doesn't have a choice because he's a CEO.
Yeah.
You dig it?
Okay.
And by him being a CEO, his orders come from the board of directors.
The board of directors. Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And the board of directors is Congress.
Yeah.
And notice when he said, okay, I want to declare war, all of them went home. None of them wanted to declare war because it would be Europeans against people of color. Nobody can see that. They're not going to declare war, but they want Obama to bomb. And so history will show black-on-black crime. Obama went in there and started killing people that look like him. And he don't want to fall for that madness. So he said, y'all come back this weekend and we're going to vote and declare war on Syria and we'll do it right. Nobody came back.
They threw him to the wolves.
Yes, they did. But he didn't fall for it. He said, okay, I don't mind bombing them. Let's kill them. However, I want a mandate from the Congress that you are approving it. The president cannot declare war. People told me, Ron, president undeclared war. I said, oh, crazy. He can't declare war. Congress is the only one that can declare war, the House of Representatives. And it is 99% Peckerwoods. You're not Europeans. And history will show that they went and bombed these people. That's why Bush never asked for a mandate. Daddy Bush, Reagan, none of them Europeans asked for a mandate. But they declared war only to stay in power with the Liber Code. Y'all got to go back and read the Liber Code. If there's unrest in the country, the president has to stay in office.
Yes.
And this is why I'm saying that they're building a case for Obama to be reelected again. Everybody said, "Oh, you can't do that."
Yes, you can.
Congress said this, and what they say, the daggum Constitution says that. Okay, I said to them, the Constitution was in place when 1933, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt stayed 12 years. That's the only reason he left, because he died. you know, when you get to study and you get your head on right, things start happening for you a bit.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is read. That's all you got to do is read. So I don't consider myself to be a know-it-all, but I know what I know when I know it. And I only talk about what I know. If you come up with something I don't know about, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. But if it don't make sense, I'm going back to Elijah Muhammad. If it don't fit in my head logically, such as Jesus was born the way he was born and all of that madness, what they call it, the Immaculate Conception, and don't click in my noggin. I can't go for it. And I don't know anybody else that can prove to me, or they haven't proven yet. They say you got to believe. I say no. A believe is like an idiot that don't have the truth. I would rather have the truth and know, K-N-O-W, rather than believe, and it could be a lie.
Right.
Be lie. Andre said it's a lie right in the middle of belief.
Yeah, and that he's right.
That's right. That's right. So, Bev, it's been good. I think they'd be listening. I can feel the vibrations out
Oh,
there.
yeah.
They really listen.
They're listening.
I get a lot of, we ought to have one session where they just call in and check in, just say, I'm listening, so we can just get a feel. I'm from New York. I'm from Budapest. I'm from Shanghai, and I'm just calling in.
Okay, well, we have 3 minutes left, and if you want to call in and check in, you can call in at 347-215-8041. That's 347-215-8041. I see them. I'm looking at them in the chat room. I see them here online, but they're listening. Well, we need to call in and get a check-in.
Yeah, give me a check-in. Let me
know that you are listening and you understand. Okay, we got somebody here from area code 470. Are you checking in?
Yeah, I do got a question.
470?
Yes.
What city are you in?
This is Michael. I'm calling from Georgia.
Okay,
Georgia. All right. You got something to add, or you just calling in?
Yeah. I got something to add.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
I tuned in kind of late. Well, yeah, notice that Obama was saying.
Hold on. Everybody stop for a minute.
Okay.
I'm the engineer. We can stay on, Bev, and keep going. We ain't got to stop at 8.
Okay, well, the people that is on the computer, if you call in, the 347-215-8041, you will still be able to hear the show on the phone. We will be off the computer, but you can still hear it on the phone. Or you can go to the Ron March show, and you'll be able to see him and hear him on the computer. So you can go over to the Ron March show.
All right.
Okay.
All right, friend.
Okay.
Go ahead from Georgia. Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you touched on this yet, but you know what that Obama was saying, ISO instead of ISIS?
What? Yeah.
They addressed the other week.
Yeah, we talked about ISIS.
Oh, you did?
And the show can is recorded, so you can go back and listen to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I tuned in late. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you, caller.
Okay, yep. Thank you, Taylor.
Mm-hmm. We have a 313-839.
All right. Thank you, caller. Okay, thank you, Taylor.
Mm-hmm. We have a 313-839.
All right. Thank you, caller.
Are you checking in?
Hello, Ron.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Ron. Yes, I was calling. I had read about that, about the president could do another term if there was a war going on.
Yep.
But I never.
Wait a minute. Turn your radio down. We're getting feedback from your radio. Can you turn your radio
or
your
got their reason why they want Obama to do another. They got a reason why they want Obama to do another term.
What is that?
And I don't understand it. That's the part that's puzzling to me. So I need you to explain to me why.
You got black face.
To another term. Because I already they was going to pull that crap because I read that it could happen. But why is they wanting him to do another term? And they hate him the way they hate him.
Yes. Well, here's the answer to that. There's no European in the United States that can become president without being assassinated. They are hated so much across the earth that they can't do business as usual with a white president. That's the only reason you have Obama. And the reason that they stay in his butt is they want to make sure he doesn't step out and try and free the slaves, so they stay in his butt 24/7 and keep him on Front Street. That's what it's all about.
Oh.
You get it? You get it?
Okay, I get it. Because he ain't did nothing for the black people since he been in office. That's a fact right there.
But
I get
anytime he mentions Okay.
Anytime he mentions black people, he say he the president of all the people, all except for the black folks.
All right, wait a minute. You missed the big one. When Trayvon Martin got killed, Obama said that could be my son, and the Europeans went crazy. Can you hear me? Are you there, man?
I'm here. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did go crazy.
So I'm telling you, anytime he talks black or mentions black, they jump in his butt with 2 feet. So they want to make sure he stays in line.
It's just like he walking around with an AKA pointed at his temple.
Yes. And they've already said they'll kill his children and his daughter, his daughters and his wife if he do anything major.
And you see how the FBI just let that man got into the White House?
Yes. And the girl drove in with a car. She didn't even get in the White House, and they shot her with bullets.
Right.
The white boy jumped the fence and ran all the way 70 yards. He ran to the front door and went in. And when he went in, then they caught him and never fired a shot. Whoever was mad.
Right. That's what you see the difference. The black woman never did anything, and she got shot to death. The white man jumped the fence and get in the White House, and he walk out alive. Then they say he crazy.
But remember, chaos. Stop. Remember, chaos, crisis, and solution. Obama may have engineered this. Because I'm getting a lot of feedback. I can't hear you.
I gotta hang her phone up. Okay. We got another caller, Ron. Area code 301-403.
Yes, I'm calling out from Maryland. Yes, I want to add on to that the guy that jumped over the fence, Wait.
What was that, Bill?
I don't know. That's on your end. There's a caller on the line.
Hello?
Yeah. Okay. All right, go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I was just adding on to what y'all talking about in D.C., that the guy that jumped over the fence, they also said that he had around the corner in his car two shotguns and some grenades in his car around the corner that they did. Okay. So, and then that's what I'm saying, and they didn't shoot him. So, it's like, you know what I mean?
And the black woman had a baby in her car, didn't she?
Right. So everything, you got to realize, like Ron must say, you got to when you open your eyes up and listen how they talk to y'all, like us, like viewers, they talk to us like we just a piece of meat. Like I keep telling you, they got 2 faces. They got a fake face and a real face, and we got to get to understand this because they gonna keep giving us this right now with Obama, with Obama right now, and you know people got their heart and soul in him because he's black. They got to realize that hey, he got to support his family and keep his family alive. You know. So, you know, we can't just look at Obama and say he ain't doing that and doing that. You know, we just got to pray that he get out of this mess. You know, and you know what I mean? Don't be assassinated.
Well, let's not forget that he asked for it.
Well, you know. Yeah. But like I say, you know, I live right in Maryland, and I say, man, they got some bull crap going on down here, and it's like I say they talk about this and that, but these people so dead. That I say, just like you say in Detroit, in DC, them saying they go down there, part of them white folk, them European, they celebrating, they doing all this crazy, and they just getting by on them. And it's like I just look at them like, you know what I mean? Like you say, they got. That's like the other day I was in the store, a girl talking about Christian. She talking to a Chinese man talking about some Christian. Say, are you a Christian? I walk away with a coat so quick, you know what I mean? I had to get away, but that's what I'm saying. People got to wake up, and I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it as that.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate people
right.
like you. You are one of the you woke, so that's good.
Yep.
Oh well, Ron.
Keep studying.
Yes, keep listening, Ron. You are waking people up, and so it's on and popping.
I appreciate
as the young kids say.
All right.
We appreciate you, Ron.
All right. I enjoy it, and let's not forget I need donations because my equipment needs working on over here. So I need help.
Yes, it do.
Yeah, I need some donations so I can keep all my research going. So please go to my website, to my donation with PayPal, and do what you can, $5, $10, whatever you can donate. I certainly appreciate it. Okay?
All right,
Until
Ron.
next week, Beth.
Okay.
Until next week.